Quazi here. Now, as I delve deeper into the true essence of reality creation, one man keeps continually popping up, and his name is Nikola Tesla. Tesla is responsible for over 80% of the technology that we have access to today, but that's barely scratching the surface of what he was truly capable of. Now, something that bugged me a lot over the years was the fact that Nikola Tesla left us with one cryptic quote before his death, and it was something like this: if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, for many years, we've been trying to explain ancient phenomena, ancient artifacts that literally just make no sense from the lens of modern science. So, questions like, how were the pyramids constructed? Was the city of Atlantis even real? How did the Stonehenge come about? Do UFOs even exist? Tesla was obsessed with answering these questions, and especially the pyramids in particular. And his search took him to some deep, dark rabbit holes. Now, in the year 1895, when he was nearing the end of all of his research, when he believed he had found something and he was ready to share it with the world, one day, after all his employees had left for the day, his lab was mysteriously set on fire and years of crucial research was wiped out. Now, someone with an agenda knew exactly what Tesla was up to and desperately wanted to wipe this knowledge out. In today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to explore the actual core essence of reality creation that I believe Nikola Tesla held the keys to, which can be broken down into two main parts: energy and frequency of vibration. By the end of this video, I'm going to share with you two main methods that I've been using for the past few years by which you can have your will manifest into physical reality. And these relate to our ability to harness energy and our frequency of vibration. So I'm super excited to get started with this. Let's jump right in. So let's begin with understanding how Tesla actually used energy and how you can begin to use this for yourself. Throughout this, I'm going to describe to you Tesla's free energy harnessing method, my recent discoveries in it, and an exercise I've been doing for a very long time that I learned from the ancient yogis. And this 3-step exercise, if you learn to do it properly, can be completely life-changing for you, okay? So what I recently started to do was I listened to this podcast with Joe Rogan, Graham Hancock, and this guy called Randall Carlson. These guys are involved in research, trying to find out ancient civilizations. They're architects and geologists. And what they were talking about was how Nikola Tesla really had access to all of these patents that were hidden away by the government and they were just taken. And these patents describe kind of how the ancient Egyptians were able to lift 70 tons of heavy blocks 300 feet in the air and construct these pyramids. Because, back then we didn't have this kind of technology. I mean, even now, it's almost like an impossible feat to do. 70 tons, to give you context, is heavier than 3 737 jetliners combined, right? Even finding 70-ton stone blocks is very difficult, right? And let alone impossible. So what they were talking about in this podcast was how Nikola Tesla was onto something with his Wardenclyffe Tower. So he built this tower geometrically in the perfect location as where the pyramids would have been, 1/3 of the way to the equator. And again, if I'm butchering this, if I've got this incorrect, forgive me, I'm just trying to paraphrase based on what I understand it. And when he did this, he was able to do different things and extract energy in different ways from the Earth's magnetic field. Nikola Tesla believed that magnetic fields were more powerful than gravitational fields. I'm going to explain to you why this exercise becomes so important for you in a second. So from this podcast, I was listening to it, and Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson was talking about how in the Maldives, they established a laboratory where they're doing research on how to get back that hidden patterns and all that technology Nikola Tesla had access to. And what they came up with that explains how the pyramids could have been constructed was this model called the plasmoid unification model, which explains how different plasmoids and toroidal shapes are used to literally transfer energy from matter and particles, and almost akin to Einstein's E=mc² formula, turn matter into energy. And the waste products that this creates is then recycled back into it to produce even more energy. If you want to do research on it, I'm sure you can search up plasmoid unification model. So that got me thinking. Ancient yogis have always talked about this, how the universe came about. One thing we literally cannot explain, one mathematical model, is simply understanding 1 divided by 0. This is how biblical texts describe even how the universe came about. First there was nothing, and then there was something. Something came out of nothing. 1 over 0. This is the greatest conundrum in mathematics. How can 1 be divided by 0? That's infinity. So in ancient yoga, there is this fundamental understanding that the unmanifest, potential latent energy became the manifest, and Shiva, the destroyer, turns the manifest back into the unmanifest. Brahman makes the unmanifest into manifest, Shiva turns the manifest into unmanifest, and Vishnu sustains that which is manifest. These are the 3 main gods in Hinduism. So this leads us to this fundamental understanding that, hey, there is energy. Energy is just changing and shifting into different forms. What happens when this free energy that's all around us, what happens when this energy gets stuck? That's when we feel stuck in our lives. What you don't know is human beings are channels for energy. We have different energetic meridians within us. That's what ancient yogis talked about. There are different channels, different chakras that the energies move up from. Okay, so whenever we feel stuck in our lives, there is simply an energetic block. I want you to think about this for a moment. Whenever you feel stuck, it's because your energy is being channeled via your attention to what you don't want and what you don't have. The mind doesn't work that way. If you focus on what you don't want and what you don't have, the energy sort of hits a wall. I don't have this, oh, I don't want this. That's when we feel stuck. So I had a client coming to me and they were asking, hey, I don't know what niche to pick for my business. I don't know what to do, what to make my videos on. I don't know what to tailor my content around. To which I told him, hey, you're focusing on what you don't know. You're focusing on what you don't want. What if you shifted that focus to, okay, that's all right. I don't know this. And that's what I don't want. What do I want instead? What do I know right now? Why don't I just start making videos on what I'm passionate about and what I do know? That's exactly what I did with my YouTube channel when I started off. I had no clue what a niche was, and that's why they say ignorance is bliss, right? Because when you know too much, your intellect starts to work against you. So when we feel stuck in our lives, please think about it. Wherever you feel stuck now in your life, whatever area it may be, you're focused on something that's the energy can't flow through it. The energy hits it and it stays stuck. So whenever we focus on what is unwanted, we stay stuck because our energy hits a block. Whenever we focus on what we do want, there is a free flow of energy. Do you feel that sense of relief when, a teacher tells you something that, hey, just don't focus on this, focus on that? There's a sense of relief. You trust the teacher, you trust the guru, you trust the professor, and you simply just focus on that. That's why it's so important sometimes to have professors and gurus, because this doubt that we focus on, this doubt is what keeps us stuck. This doubt is what keeps our energy stuck. So Nikola Tesla really believed in free energy. And there's a lot of talk about purple plates and how to harness free energy. And if you look at research right now, there's research coming up on how we can use our minds to literally mold the frequency of matter, the crystals, the atomic structure of water even, right? So if you take a glass of water right now and you feel loving thoughts towards it, the crystalline structure of water changes to something harmonious. But then if you have bitterness towards that water, or just you have bitter feelings in general and you put your hands around it, you'll see that the crystalline structure changes if observed under a microscope. There's been lots of studies on it. So we literally have the power to channel our free energy in accordance with the frequency of our thoughts. Okay, it's like a magnetic field. So this is why I say that Nikola Tesla believed that magnetic fields were much more powerful than gravitational or any other fields. And now let's get to this free energy method, which is literally going to blow your mind. And I came to this realization quite recently, and this epiphany changed how I looked at everything. Okay? So we talked about how we have different energy meridians. And by a meridian, I simply mean a column through which energy flows. And ancient yogis believe it was a spinal column. We have root chakra, the lowest most chakra, and the goal was to move energy up to the sahasrara, your crown chakra, which leads to enlightenment. Lots of yogis, the yogis from the beginning of time, Patanjali wrote a book called the Yoga Sutras, and the whole goal was just that, to move energy up. Now, we can begin to use this right now to get unstuck in our lives, to manifest whatever it is that we want. And I've been using this for the past 7 years. Please forgive my diagram, but if you look at this head and a spinal column, if we imagine that within this spinal column, and by the way, in the autobiography of a yogi, Paramhansa Yogananda talks about this as well, we have these channels that energy flows through. There are 2 channels that are believed to be there. One is right in front of the other, maybe an inch, and you can visualize this, you can feel an energetic channel. There's free energy that flows all around us, just like the Wardenclyffe Tower. Right? It's kind of like the Earth's magnetic field. From the north and the south, there are different energy currents that flow through. Now, what we can do in 3 steps is feel this energetic current. So what I want you to do is imagine that there's one current of energy in the back flowing downwards and one current of energy flowing upwards. And they alternate like an alternating current. Remember, Nikola Tesla invented the AC current. That's why this is so powerful. There's 2 channels, one right behind the other, 2 just parallel to each other. I hope I'm explaining this all right. If you have any questions, by the way, let me know in the comments. 2 channels, and imagine energy is flowing up and down. And you just need to visualize this. The way we can use our energy is through creative visualization, which is something Tesla was extremely powerful at. He was able to visualize different things and see pictures clearly in his mind's eye, and he had all these flashes of light. But let's begin with step number 1 of this energy meridian exercise, how to use free energy that's around you. There's free energy available all around us, we're just not tapping into it because we feel stuck in our bodies. That's why all of this yogic practice exists. Step 1, what I want you to do right now is take an in-breath. And as you inhale, feel that there is a cycle of energy. One meridian of energy is flowing down from the top of the sky, or wherever you want to harness this energy from, and one is coming from the ground up, and they're sort of moving past each other. So let's take an in-breath. And you feel this energetic meridian. Now, as you exhale, imagine that they alternate. So now the one that was going from the bottom to the top is coming from the top to the bottom. So now they're alternating. So they're continually alternating as you inhale and as you exhale. So let's do this right now. As you exhale, feel it alternating. If you do this a couple of times, you'll start to feel a lot more energetic throughout your day. You'll start to feel that there's this new sort of energy about your body. If you've been feeling sluggish and stuck, if you just take a few minutes and just feel this energy, especially if you're exercising or you're going for a walk, you'll start to become a lot more vibrant. Now, why this is so powerful, and this is what's crazy. If you've been in a physics class or an electricity class, I remember learning this in my engineering classes. What happens when you put a current through a wire? If a wire has a current that's flowing in a particular direction, there is a law called Ohm's law. If we put the direction of the current, we can find the field. So this is the magnetic field generated by this current. So this energy that's flowing through us, it's kind of like a current. If we can imagine it, we start to create a magnetic field all around us. And this magnetic field, if we can channel it into what we want in our lives, this magnetic field can attract it then. So this, combined with the 3rd step, creative visualization. If you begin to visualize as you feel these energetic meridians in your body, you'll begin to much faster attract those situations, attract what it is that you want to manifest. Okay, this is extremely powerful, and I've been doing this for the past 7 years. It doesn't have to be like, you don't visualize with feeling it. You just get in touch with it make sure that your energetic meridians are open and they're flowing, and simply live life as you'd want to live and shift your focus to what you want rather than what you don't want. As you do this, more coincidences happen, more synchronicities happen, and more things just open up for you because now your energy is freely flowing. There's a lot of energetic work that I've done back in the day, which I believe this is where I got it from, but the most prevalent of it all was from yogic sciences, learning, especially taking some of Sadhguru's inner engineering work, where he teaches you how to move energy up. So this is what I want you to do for the next 30 days. Just feel your energetic meridians as you go throughout your day, as you exercise, as you do different activities. Just hour by hour, get in touch with this energetic meridian and imagine that this free energy flows through you. By doing this, you create a very, very powerful magnetic field, which you can focus your efforts on, and whatever you focus your efforts on manifests much faster. So now let's get to understanding frequency of vibration, and this is going to be a game changer for you. Okay, so now let's talk about frequency of vibration. Now, what I learned recently about frequency of vibration and learning different ways in which we can use sound to do different things was completely game-changing for me, this realization. So what you've got to understand is that every matter, just all particles and everything, it's simply made up of vibration. Everything is just vibrating at a different rate, right? Some things are vibrating very fast, others are quite dense. The reason why we can manipulate dreams and craft a vision in our mind's eye much faster is because they vibrate, the particles and matter is vibrating much faster. As opposed to physical reality, manipulating it is a little more difficult because it's vibrating a little slower, so it's much more dense. Every single religion, every single tradition pretty much talks about sound and the power of sound and the power of frequency, okay? In Christianity, first there was the word, right? In Hinduism, it's the word Om. The first word is thought to be Om. That's why you say I am, or you call it home, right? It's the most fundamental, the most primitive word. And that's why when we speak, we say like that's just our fundamental word. Everything at its base can be broken down into Om. Please just realize that. If you can begin to hear Om in everything if you just notice, if you just listen for it. Right? There is just Om in everything. So Om is the quintessential nature of vibration. And everything has a resonant frequency. Okay? And if you look at bridges, if a large enough army walks through a bridge or a storm occurs with the bridge's resonant frequency, it can literally break the bridge. And this is what they believed the ancient Egyptians did. In ancient depictions, you could see that there were priests chanting as these blocks were lifted up. And it just goes to show that maybe there was some sort of vibration technology being used. And no one better than Nikola Tesla knew about this. And in yogic knowledge, what they do is to ascend energy up from the lowest centers to the highest. They use resonant frequency in the form of chanting. And that's why chanting is so key. If you look at the three main chakras we have, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and the throat chakra, the Vishuddhi, you can begin to resonate these three chakras by saying the word Om, right? So if we say Om and we begin with Ah, and you chant Ah for a while, you'll feel a resonance in your sacral chakra. So try this with me right now. Just say the word Ah, and you can feel energy around your navel area being resonated. Now, if you say Ooh, Ooh, you can feel energy resonating around your solar plexus. Now, if you say you can feel energy resonating around your Vishuddhi, your throat chakra. In this way, you can ascend energy from these lower levels up to these higher levels. And this is what I learned when I was doing Sadhguru's program, Inner Engineering. He has this exercise in there where you chant Aum 21 times, and then you go into a third eye visualization. So I want you to try this for yourself. What you can do is go on the Inner Engineering app Or there's a meditation that Sadhguru has where you chant the word Om 21 times. And if you combine this with the third eye visualization, I actually recently did a video on this quite recently. Just click right here to check it out. In that video, I share with you, like, once you get energy up from these lower levels to here, it's much easier to ascend it from here to your Ajna chakra, your third eye chakra. So do this exercise first, do the chanting for 21 times. Try it out, either go there or just do it yourself. You can feel it. And do it in a slow rhythm. Just feel it at equal times at each chakra. So if you focus on 2 seconds, then ooh, 2 seconds, then ooh, 2 seconds. I know this is getting kind of freaky, but try it out for yourself and see if you notice any sort of a difference. Usually when I do this exercise and when I do the Shambhavi Mahamudra, I feel like I've been reborn as a new child, right? And it's been quite powerful for me as I've been doing it for the past 2 years. But combine this with the third eye visualization, it becomes extremely, extremely potent. So I made a video on the third eye visualization quite recently. If you can just click right here to check it out. And I'll see you in the next video right now. Thanks.